Hey, I'm Effie T Brown, and I am at Shadow and Act, and this is how I made it. So, I grew up in Willingboro, New Jersey. I did not have anyone in the film industry that I was a relative or a friend of. I always knew that I wanted to be in the business of story. And being a latchkey kid, I had a real sort of love for stories and television. And I remember when I was a kid watching television, I was very aware of how people of color and women were portrayed. So it was from watching those things that made me want to be in film and TV. I eventually got myself to California, and I went to Loyola Marymount University, and I got in on theater. And on my very first day of orientation, I walked right over to the communications building, and I went up to the head of the film department at that time, and I told them that they needed to accept me into this film program because this is what I wanted to do. And I didn't have the words inclusion and diversity weren't really, back in the early 80s, weren't really, a thing yet. But I explained to them about representation and the images that we see and how important they are and how they can shape people and how they can build cultural bridges, and that's what I wanted to be a part of. I knew that I wanted to be a producer when I went to college, and I thought I was going to be an actor, and then realized that I couldn't handle rejection and I was not going to not eat carbs. So when in my film classes, I was like, you know what I'm really good at? I love all types of people, and I love putting together a dysfunctional, functional family. And that's sort of what a producer does. I started out as a line producer. And a line producer is someone that makes the budget for the film and actually has to maintain that line item in the budget while you're making the film. It's sort of a bridge between art and commerce. I had a real skill, and I recommend that people get a skill. And by that meaning budgeting or scheduling or knowing the mechanics of making a movie, and also the mechanics of what makes a good story. By me having a good base in those things, I was able to pivot into certain roles, and I'm grateful that I haven't had to do anything other than that. I haven't had to go outside the film industry. Being a producer is really hard. One minute you have several movies at Sundance and you're winning, and then the next minute everything you have is falling through your hands. So it's all about being able to create that timeline and to have the tenacity to be able to hold on. I think in everybody's career, you have ups and downs. And I had to take a moment, I have to say, recently, like in 2017, 2018, I took a little time down. You have that moment of like, what are you doing with your life? Are you becoming the producer that you want to be? It became obvious to me, sometimes things are a little rigged against us, and that the only way that we will be able to level the playing field is if we have access and resources. Well, in 2018, I won an unrestricted grant from CineReach that afforded me the time to stop and to make a business plan, which is, today I'm the CEO of Gamechanger Films, and we are a film finance and development content company. That was why I had to take a moment, because it was after 20-something years of doing, I'm grateful, I'm never gonna say, I'm very grateful for where I've been and what I've had, but there becomes a point where you have to look around and you're like, are we making a difference? Are things changing? And what can I actually do to make sure that we advance this playing field in my lifetime and while I have the energy? And so that's where I am, and that's what I'm doing.